I disagree. I completely disagree. So there's
Okay,
where the
well,
problem is.
what do you think it is then?
What do I think what is?
The good. What's the good?
The good is that which benefits each individual, provided that everyone is a consenting adult. I don't think.
But why? Like, why? Why is that good? Like, is that an unchanging, eternal standard for what is good? Is it? Huh?
I think it's a more fair statement than that. I'm free. Based on mine. What is the good in my case?
So what if
I decide it to be?
Okay, so there is no good then, is what you're saying.
There's no absolutes. If you're talking about like absolutism, no, I don't think that there's anything that's intrinsically good or bad. I think those are terms that we apply things.
Oh, so how can you even have a why even debate on what's better for society? You don't think there's any absolutes. Nothing is absolutely good, nothing is absolutely bad. You just have your preferences. And people think that this is a better argument than saying that God is our standard for good and evil. It's so stupid.
And what's wrong with my definition then?
Well, it's bad for me. Again, we're back on mine. We're back on my version.
So what if it's bad for you? It's my preference.
Well, so what if it's good for you? I mean, use that same logic in both directions.
Yeah, but that's your logic. Though. Your logic is that it's all arbitrary and everybody can just decide what their own.
This is why secularism always just reduces down to force. Whoever has the most force gets to determine what's good. Their whole philosophy is just might makes right. That's all it is.
Good is. So then what the hell's wrong with my preference?
The problem is yours is trying to impose on mine, and mine is not trying to impose on yours. So that's the problem. You asked what the problem is, that's the problem.
That's an assertion.
Pardon, I was still on mute. Just to be sure we don't go too far down this rabbit hole of moral, basically meta-ethics. I think it's G.E. Moore. This is a challenge.
See, he does it again. Like, this is pivotal. Pivotal. There we go. This is pivotal to the argument or the debate on what's better for society. If he's going to make the bold statement that there's no absolute good or bad, then how can he even tell us what's ultimately good for society? It's just all his preference. He just prefers it.
Like in philosophy, for virtually every moral theory, or even just on a broader level, moral semantics of like what is the good. I don't want to get too far down this conversation before we go back to the effects on society of both Christianity and secular humanism.
So then all you're going to do is just assume that there's a good and there's a bad. And you're never going to get to, like, the underpinning definition of what we're actually saying when we say that things are good or bad. Just surface level nonsense. All you get when you do that is just people talking past each other. That's all you get, because we're defining our words differently.
So where do you want to go, James?
I want to have the conversation go toward the topic of what's best for society, Christianity or secular humanism.
Okay, well, I mean, what do you think are the societal problems then, Jared? What are the things that we need to contend with?
Societal problems that we need to contend with. For starters, I think far too many people are overly sensitive, but that's a little bit off topic. Far too many people are butthurt over the slightest things anymore. Keeping it close to what we're talking about.
Would you include people who get overly offended by people using the wrong pronouns? Like say like a woman has these huge arms and a big old beard and a purple wig on, and somebody calls her a he. Like, is that overly sensitive?
I would say that the societal problems are when we start imposing our will on others. I think that's really one of the bigger issues out there. What would you consider to be one of the societal problems?
Well, I mean, I think that it's actually important to get into what you're saying. So you think that it's a big societal problem when people want to impose their worldview on others?
From a government standpoint, yeah. And it's also, let's not make it just important.
It's also a contradiction to say that. To say that you should not impose your worldview on others is imposing your worldview on others that we ought not impose our worldviews on others. It's an all-around performative contradiction. Like you're just a nonsense machine. You shouldn't do that. Well, you shouldn't tell me that I shouldn't do that. You know what? I agree. It's so stupid.
To get into mine, we do need to get into yours. Fair's fair.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that for sure. But what's actually like, what's wrong with that? I mean, if somebody
Now we're going to go back to
holds
the
a
thing we
strong
just left. James just already corrected this direction. This is just going to go back into the definition of what's good and what's bad and how ours is different.
Because it's important.
I've already
I
made it
know.
pretty clear that the biggest difference between your view and mine is I won't impose mine on you. You are perfectly happy imposing it on me.
Yes, you will.
So you're basically just saying that there is no correct worldview to have. Everybody can have their own worldview. It's all about your preferences. You decide what's good.
How would
You
there be a
decide what
correct
your
worldview?
preferences.
Correct according to who?
Well, is it wrong to kill somebody?
I think so in most cases, yes, except for
Okay.
self-defense.
Is that an objective claim? Is it objectively wrong to do that?
I don't think it's objectively wrong to do that. I don't think that there's any type of intrinsic right or wrong. I think you're looking at absolutism here, and I don't think there's really any absolute right or wrong. The laws of nature don't work that way.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with your worldview is that it actually falls apart straight away because if it's not objectively wrong to kill people, if there is no objective truth, then like why is it wrong for me to kill somebody?
The fact that you would have to ask that is alarming, because if the only reason why you're not killing people is based on the fact that you think that it's objectively wrong, then I don't want to have this debate any further. I want you to keep thinking it's objectively wrong, because wow, you're just a murderer on a leash at that point.
Which is exactly why we promote Christian ethics. Because, we're capable of making these objective statements where you just said, no, it's not actually wrong. So if you keep on promoting this idea, no, it's not actually wrong, I just prefer you don't do it. Well, people might start getting the idea that, well, if it's not actually wrong, then why don't I just do it? I mean, there's nothing absolutely wrong about it. Why don't I just stop? Why don't I just do it? Huh? Bud, you got to get it again. Your head's not in the same place. You gotta wear it again. Like, duh. But no, just tell people it's all subjective. It's all relativistic. There's no good and bad. It's just your preferences. So, I mean, I guess if you prefer to murder people, I mean, who am I to say that you're wrong? Dumbass. Just constantly putting his foot in his mouth.